I'm filming on a Wednesday instead of Saturday. My life is so put together right now. Oh my gosh, I am so scheduled. I am so prepared. Hey guys, it's Deborah. So today I'm going to be talking about 10 things I love about books. Last week I did 10 pet peeves I have about books, and I wanted to balance it out because there's a lot of negative energy kind of in that video. So here's some things that I really love about books and about reading. Number one is the most obvious reason, and that's being transported into a completely different world where everything that you know in this one is like, it doesn't matter. It's great just to be transported into this completely different world that you don't know, or you do know depending on how well you know the story, and to live through all of these other characters' lives. Number two relates to that, and that is solving problems that the characters that you know in those fictional worlds have, and it makes you like feel better about the problems that you have. So this character can survive all of these things that are thrown at them, which means that you can probably survive whatever else is being thrown at you, and it's just like, it's a great experience overall, and it makes you feel better about who you are as a person and stuff like that. Number three is making characters so in-depth they could be real. Whenever an author can make a character so intricate and knows every little thing about them, like when you take a personality quiz, they could answer every question correctly about those characters. Like, that's when you know the character is in depth and that the author knows what they're talking about, and they know the character's emotions and everything about the character, and could just answer it off the top of their head. But they can come up with weird things like what their Instagram profile would look like. If they had a YouTube channel, what would they talk about, etc. Like stuff like that. And I think that's a really cool thing. Just interesting that an author could come up with stuff like that because they know their characters so well. Number four is when the spines line up really pretty. I know my personal favorite series is when the Mortal Instruments series, like all of the books in the Shadowhunter world, are all in hardback and they've all got the dust jackets on it, and they all line up and form this such a pretty, like, oh, I love how pretty it looks when they're all just perfectly in line, and like, oh my gosh. Especially on Jesse the Reader's shelf, like if you look at his Shadowhunter books, they're just like, the Harry Potter ones look quite nice as well, with how they like billow out. And all of Sarah Jermash's books, if I had all of them in like hardback, it would look even better. But like when all the spines line up and make such a pretty like line, and all of the books are completely in line with each other and just even, and it makes my heart happy, and it makes the aesthetics out of my bookshelf look beautiful, and I appreciate it a lot. Number five is beautiful book covers. When a book cover is beautiful, it automatically makes the book more appealing. I don't care about the premise is pretty good, it's interesting, but then when I saw the cover I was just kind of like, but I need to buy the book. I need that book because it's pretty. And that book will look beautiful on my shelf, therefore I need to buy it so I can put it on my shelf. Number six is thick books. I love reading thick books. They're very intimidating at first, especially when they're like the first book in a series. If it's more than like 400 or 500 pages long, it's so intimidating to read. But once you get done with it, you're so satisfied with how quickly or that you finished it at all. And it's such a nice feeling inside your heart to know that you finished. Like, I finished this 500-page book in 3 days. Look at me go. I am so accomplished. And then they're beautiful, and it gives you more time to expand on the world and get to know the characters better, so that the author has time to expand on her characters more, and everything just flows in nicely whenever it's a big book. And bigger books get prettier covers. In my like head, they get prettier covers, I guess. Big, thick books that are nice looking, that are pretty on your shelves, that are everything that I love. Yes. Number seven is high quality bookmarks. Whenever I go to Books A Million, because that's the bookstore we have here, I tend to buy a new bookmark, one that I have had my eye on for a while. I love the Books A Million bookmarks. This is an example. This is what the backs always look like, depending on the color. They're designed by David Cole Wheeler, and they are copyrighted by Peter Pauper Press. So they're really high quality ones. They come in little slips, so that it can be even more protected. I take them out because I find the little slip annoying, and it just makes the bookmark larger, and they don't fit in my bookmarks jar, so I just get rid of it. I would highly recommend the Books A Million bookmarks that come in like the little slips of paper, the little slip thingies. The better quality bookmarks, the better they'll stay in the book, and 12 out of 10 would recommend good bookmarks. They make me happy. Number 8 is fandoms. The large fandoms that you can get just from reading a book. The amount of friends that you can find from reading a book and loving characters. It's insanity. I have made so many friends from reading books and being into different fandoms. It's a wonderful place to be. Fandoms also provide you with all of that fan art that you need, so you can get a picture in your brain of a character or of like a specific scene that you might want to see, or just like fan art. And then you also get headcanons, which are great, or alternate universe, like AU things, which are also really fun to read. There is this account called, oh my gosh, it's slipping my brain at the moment, but they have the most heartbreaking ACOTAR and Throne of Glass headcanons ever. But make sure you've read all of Sarah J. Maas's books before you follow her account or read any of her things, because they are very, very spoilery, like extremely spoilery. Just a heads up, I will link it on the screen right here. It's linked, see? Woo! Headcanons are a thing that I love a lot, and it makes you think more about the characters and the world that they live in, and makes you feel all the feels, and that is not always the best thing, but as a general statement, I appreciate it. And then out of that, you can also find fan fictions. So there's intricate storylines where something might have changed in the story, or they might continue writing the story. So for example, somebody could have written the entirety of Tower of Dawn before it even came out. It would obviously be different than what Sarah J. Maas's book is, but it could exist, and there could be potential ideas for what could happen in Tower of Dawn, and give you all of the feels, and it's just great to read fan fictions. I don't do it as much anymore because I have way too little time, and real books are like up there for me, but like fan fiction is great, especially when you just want to read more about the characters, but don't want to read an actual physical book, or don't have time to read a book. It's always on your phone, it's always there, just look it up. You good. On top of that, there's a whole bunch of fan accounts that you can follow so that you can look in and delve deeper into the fandom and just become an essential part of the fandom, you know? Somebody's got to watch all your fanfics, your fan art, your edits, all of that stuff. Somebody's got to look at it all, and it's so great. Fandoms are so nice, and everyone has a mutual love for the same books. And then you can also get a lot of different opinions on all of those things in the books, so you can get a different feel for the things that you're reading. And your opinions could be altered, or you can see other people's opinions. And fandoms are so nice. I can't stress this enough. Fandoms are so pure and so good. Number 9 is when books smell good. I mean, all books generally smell good, but like sniffing books, my crack. It just smells like a book. I love the smell of books, especially new ones, when they don't have any stains on them, or any other like weird smells. Old books smell wonderful. I love the old smell of old books, and it's like a happy feeling, you know? You know when certain smells bring you back to like nostalgic and things like that and make you feel things? That's what these books and smelling books does. It makes you feel happier inside. Lastly, number 10, in-depth stories and world building, etc. What I'm trying to get with this one is whenever an author has like the entire world mapped out, and you know exactly what's happening and where it's happening at, so the world is very, very in-depth and very, very developed. Having a very developed world makes reading the story easier because the author knows exactly where everything is, which means it's easier for the reader to interpret where everything is and to follow along with the actual story. Another thing about having a very in-depth world building is knowing how the story ends whenever you start it. I know in Throne of Glass specifically, I keep going back to that series because I just finished it a month ago, maybe less, I don't know. In Queen of Shadows, Sarah J. Maas sets up something that is going to happen at the very end of Empire of Storms, which means she had to have a whole bunch of stuff planned out to happen over the course of this time, so it's simply fan out, and you would eventually understand what was happening by the time Empire of Storms ended, and everything would like play out nicely. And you would realize this only after the fact. Like, just knowing how the story is supposed to end when you're on book 1 or something to that effect. I was reading City of Bones earlier today in my math class. It's at the beginning of chapter 5. For me, it's on the second page, but there was some undertones as to what's going to happen as the series progresses. I'm going to read them to you, but please be warned, there are going to be spoilers for the rest of the series. This is when Clary is still unconscious, after she was attacked by the Ravener. She saw Luke standing atop a pile of bones, Jace with white feathered wings sprouting out of his back, Isabel sitting naked with her whip curled around her like a net of gold rings, Simon with crosses burned into the palms of his hands, angels falling and burning, falling out of the sky. So it's like a kind of forward to what's going to happen in the future books, because by the end of this book, Simon obviously turns into a vampire, and that shows the crosses on the hands. City of Heavenly Fire is all about Jace and him having, spoiler alert, very, very spoilery, heavenly fire in him, so he's got like fancy stuff, and he's got the angel blood in him, so that's always nice. But just having the entire like storyline already planned out ahead of time, even when you're on the first book or the second book and you already know almost everything that's going to pan out, just not exactly how it's going to happen, like that is writing goals right there. I don't know how you do it, but it is wonderful, and I love that so much about books in general. Like I said at the beginning of this video, this was kind of to balance out the negativity that was in Bookish Pet Peeves, and I had this idea and I was just like, yes! So I filmed it, and I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, please give this video a like and subscribe to my channel and ding the bell to get notified every time I upload. I will see you guys in the future. Goodbye! And that lookbook, so I can put it on my shelf. That was really dizzying. I'm gonna do it again now. Okay, goodbye!